This is the Kazdoy Closet. I'm Kazdoy. That's my closet full of all the stuff that I love, and today we may be experiencing a little bit of synchronicity. Why do I say that? Well, it's mid-October right now, so we're getting very close to the Barnes & Noble Criterion half-off sale, and it's almost Noirvember. So what better time than now to talk about today's film? It's an unusual, pitch black film noir that hopefully will be released during that Criterion sale, and we'll have some more synchronicity. Meanwhile, let's check it out. Today's film is Blast of Silence from 1961, a brisk 77 minutes long in beautiful black and white. The plot here is simple. A hitman arrives in Manhattan, roams the city while waiting for the right time to complete his assignment. There's a couple things you should know about this film right off the bat. First of all, for about, I'd say 75% of the film, we're basically watching our main character, Frankie Bono, walking around the city and kind of stalking his prey, and it gets into a couple other things also. All this time, again, during 75% of the film or so, we hear a voiceover narration in the second person, which is quite unusual. Now, in case you forgot, first person narration would be something like, I walk down the street. Third person would be, he, she, or they walk down the street. Those are the two you usually see in film narration or in literature. But this is done in second person where they say, you walk down the street. Now, it's quite unusual and uncommon to see that written in a literature or to hear that in a voiceover in a film. So that makes this quite unique, I would say. Now, the voiceover commentary is, I'd say, part commenting on Frankie's personality and also sort of reminding him of what he needs to do. Like it might say, concentrate, Frankie, concentrate. And the voiceover isn't the actors. It actually belongs to character actor Lionel Stander, who is probably best known for the Roman Polanski film Cul-de-sac. He was blacklisted at the time, but his voice is just perfect mix of cynicism and fatalism and just a perfect tone. He's great in this narration role. And the narration, which is quite good, was actually written by Waldo Salt, who, under a pseudonym, because he was also blacklisted at the time, he went on to write Oscar-winning screenplays for Midnight Cowboy and Coming Home. The second thing to know about Blast of Silence is that it's quite a low-budget film. The budget was $20,000. It has a somewhat documentary, somewhat cinema verite feel to it, and it's 16 millimeter, so it's quite grainy. And New York City locations used throughout. New York City is definitely like another character in this film. So you can tell they did not have any permits when they were filming this. They were using hidden cameras for like some of the street scenes and stuff. And if somebody came along, they just kind of run away. So sort of guerrilla filmmaking, really. And great locations in here from New York, like Penn Station, Staten Island Ferry, the waterfront, Harlem, and the famous jazz club, the Village Gate. Now, even saying all that about visually, there are, what I said visually about this, there are some occasional flashes of very interesting compositions and angles and playing with light and shadow that do appear interspersed throughout this low-budget film. The audio and the sound effects, for the most part, you can tell were added later on because they don't sound natural. They sound like they were added. I also wondered, how did the filmmakers afford Lionel Stander to narrate the film and Waldo Salt to write the narration? And my hunch is, since they were blacklisted, they probably needed work and they probably worked for very little money. Blast of Silence was directed by Alan Barron. He was really an actor at the time, dabbled a little bit in filmmaking. He also wrote the screenplay. He also plays the main character, Frankie. He wanted Peter Falk for the main character, but Peter Falk got a more lucrative offer for the film Murder, Inc. So Alan Barron said that he would hire himself because he's the only one he could afford, because he probably didn't pay himself or anything. He only directed a couple more films. Most of his career was spent directing television. And then later in his life, he focused on painting and illustrating. And as far as I know, he's still alive, 96 years old. So what are the film noir elements in Blast of Silence? Basically everything from the first frame to the last frame, just seeped in it. It actually begins with the narrator setting the tone right away with Frankie's birth. Not literally, but we're coming out of a tunnel and he's talking about how you were born with anger and hate built in. So quite a dark idea to start a film with. This is really a character study of a lonely man. He's separate from others. Even when he's in a crowd, he's just separate from everybody else. And the narration will say, you're a loner, but you like it that way. And there's one scene where he gets kind of roped into going to a party, and you see all these other couples dancing and talking, and there's Frankie sitting by himself on a couch, and the narration says, you hate parties. If you want a woman, buy one. So that hopefully gives you an idea what to expect here. Don't expect a lot of witty repartee between characters. It's all about the narration, which is really tough and really hard-boiled. The themes in this film: alienation, loneliness, anger, hate, regret. It's all about the mood. No twists and turns here at all. Also, the music, it's basically a jazz score. It's a little too brassy for my taste, even though I'm a huge jazz fan. But at one point when he goes to the village gate, they have a really nice jazz combo playing. I'd really like to know who those players were. But there's a singer there, and he's singing about dressed in black all the time, and it's all about how a woman cheated on him. So poor Frankie, even when he goes to a nightclub to listen to some music, it's still downbeat and cynical and pessimistic. My rating for Blast of Silence, I'm going to give this one 4.5 skylines out of 5. Why skylines? We see the New York skyline several times, and it's just so beautiful to look at. Even though it sounds like we're just watching him walking around and waiting all the time. He talks about the monotony of waiting because he has to strike at the right time to kill this guy he's supposed to kill. It's really not a monotonous film at all, especially at 77 minutes. But I gave it that high rating because it's such a unique film noir. And if you're a film noir aficionado or collector or both, I think you really need to have this or to at least see this. What's on this disc? This is an old Criterion DVD. The Blu-ray will be coming out on Criterion on December 5th. The extras on here will be the same as on the Blu-ray. And those include mainly a 60-minute making of documentary that was made 30 years after this film was made. It's a German film crew following the director, Alan Barron, around different New York City locations where he shot the film, talking about how the locations changed and his memories of it. Why is it a German film crew? Because in 1990, they showed this film at the Munich Film Festival, and it got a lot of recognition. It pops up at different film festivals periodically and gets good receptions. Martin Scorsese is a big fan of this film, and you can see elements of Taxi Driver, I thought, while watching this, that were influenced by Blast of Silence for sure, the whole loneliness theme. There's also a booklet, which is short but very informative, and a little 4-page graphic novel that's very nice. It kind of looks like this, same kind of color scheme and look of part of the film. So where can you see Blast of Silence? Well, basically you have to rent it or buy it. Now if you want to buy this DVD, I see it on Amazon, only used copies. Otherwise you can wait until December 5th and buy the new Blu-ray copy of it. So feel free to leave a comment or suggestion down below. Have you seen Blast of Silence? I know it's kind of an obscure one. Leave a comment or suggestion. I'd like to thank the following people who've left comments since our last episode. It's kind of a long list. I'll go as fast as I can. John, MK, Diod, Martin, Tina, Michael, Alan, Sid, Matt, Andrew, Marcy, Bob's Big Boy, Skell Central, Mick, Jersey for Hawks. Thank you so much for taking the time to leave a comment on various episodes. Leave a thumbs up. Don't leave a thumbs down. Subscribe would be great. Share this with your friends and neighbors. I would like to thank the following people who have subscribed since our last episode. They include Andrew, Claire the Princess, and Sean Gileon. Thank you so much. We're very close to our next goal of 650 subscribers. I think we're like 5 or 6 away from it. So feel free to subscribe It's free. Also free is we're on the Letterboxd app under the Kazdoy Closet. There's a link in the notes down below. That's where we leave brief written reviews of other things we're watching. Most recently, VHS 85 and Robot Jocks. So check that out if you'd like to. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching. Hope you like this one, and we'll see you next time.